Good day and welcome to Predators Proclivity, where we look at data from the season for the NHL Nashville Predators and make comments on it. Not much data these days because of the Olympic break, but hey, we're here. I'm your host, Preston Proctor. And today we have a special episode. I warned you guys, or threatened maybe, that Premium Percy Proctor was going to call in. Premium, how you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I threatened. I don't know. This makes me sound scary, but anyway, yeah. Thanks for having me. Glad to finally be on the podcast. That's for sure. So
yeah, I think I mentioned in at least one podcast. There a number of times when I listen to the podcast, I think I'm listening to you. So I'm curious to go back and listen to this, see if I can figure out which of us is which.
You know, I heard you say that, and I really, you're my brother and everything, but I was kind of offended by that. But that's fine. We'll move on from that. So anyway.
All right.
That was good. I'm kind of curious too, and if I find that we talk a lot alike, I might have to go to a speech therapist or something and kind of change that up a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, we'll figure that out later on.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Sounds good. So, what do you feel like talking about today?
Well, I guess, so I think there's a break right now, right, because of the Olympics that are going on. And so the next game is coming up in a week or so against Boston. I don't know if you'd like to kind of preview that game, but yeah, I don't know. I'll just kind of float along, and, I don't know hockey that well. And so I got a question. I've been to a couple of games with you. So I kind of try to stay away from the cold stuff, I like warm weather things. But anyway, yeah, I think as we go along, I'll probably have a lot of questions. And maybe that'll be helpful for the viewers. Maybe there's our listeners, maybe there's some people out there that don't know a lot about hockey too. So.
Well, okay. I hadn't put together my preview of the Boston game yet. I was kind of enjoying... not.
Yeah.
I guess it's actually Chicago on the 26th, not Boston.
Right. Yeah. The Blackhawks. Yeah. So, but, I think, from previous podcasts, I think just some questions that I've kind of been floating through my head.
Sure.
It's interesting when you get into talking about a lot of the statistics, and, because I'm a Major League Baseball fan, so there's more statistics than you can shake a stick at in that sport, and a lot of analytical stuff that goes into it, and yeah. So I think at the end of the day, I was just kind of boiling down I think the question in my head is, what's still the most important period to win? Is it the first period or the second period? And then another question I had is, I'm assuming the coaches, the Predators coaches are kind of looking at this stuff. Like, what kind of adjustments or things do they make based on data that they're getting in, So.
Okay. As far as the most important period to win, I don't know that there's really a lot of good research on that. What I would say is, if I remember correctly, last year, I was looking at the teams that were going to the playoffs. The teams that were the best in the second period were the teams that were in the playoffs. The Preds were not very good in the second period. They are better this year. They're just absolutely horrible in the first period. And, unfortunately, I think where the Preds are at this year is that they dig themselves a hole early, and then they try to see if they can dig out of it. And the really weird thing that I've tried to been looking into is that if the Preds, say, like in all the statistics I do, if the Preds tie, I think at home, if the Preds tie the second period, they're better off to have tied the first period. They have a worse record.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
And granted, the data points we're looking at here are, we don't have that many data points to look at really, because they play 82 games, and if you're looking at specific scenarios, they only play 41 home games. And from a statistical standpoint, 20 is kind of like when you get a certain number that is significant, and so many different scenarios, you never get to 20, right? So, So when I guess that's actually, we've got 8 data points when they tie the first and tie the second. The other day against Minnesota, they tied the first, tied the second. They actually tied 3 periods. I started reviewing my spreadsheet and realized that one of the data points I wasn't collecting was when they tie 3 periods, which the Preds have done 3 times this year. You can't.
Yeah, they're 1 and 2 or something in that scenario, right? Something like that.
And where is that? When they're 3 times they have tied 3 periods, or 4 periods. 3 times they've tied 4 periods. But yeah, they can tie 3 periods. They can tie. This is the new data point I've got is tying 4 periods. So they tied the first period, second period, third period, and they go to a shootout, right? So,
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not overtime. Okay. Shootout.
Yeah, well, they go to overtime first, and then a shootout.
Oh, okay. All right.
So if they tie the overtime, the 5-minute overtime.
Oh, that's the fourth period.
Yeah, that's the 4th period.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, no, I don't know. So they got an overtime. Like, how long is the overtime? Is it like 5 minutes or
5
something
minutes.
like that? Or?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then the shootout's like 5 shots, right?
Well, you pick 5 shooters, and if it's not resolved, you keep going.
Okay. Yeah.
Was it 5 or 3? I think it's 5.
Shooters. Yeah.
I think it's 5. Yeah. You got me here. I kind of.
Oh no. Yeah, sorry.
Pretty sure it's 5. Yeah.
Sounds violent. I mean,
the shootout.
Shooters. You got shooters on. I mean, just violent. Anyway, all right. So 5 shooters.
Right.
And
so then if it's
do
still
they shoot all at the same time? I don't know. Is there 5 shooting at one time?
No.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. I think I've seen it.
Yeah. It's one at a time, and the home team gets to decide whether they get to go first or second.
Yeah.
Right. So, I guess there's the calculation. Do we think we're going to score? Do we want to go last? Do we want to see what we have to do? Kind of those decisions.
Did they not flip a coin or something?
No. The home team gets to decide.
Oh, the home team gets it. All right. Okay. Yeah. So, and they can decide who goes first. The home team. Okay, that's cool. That's home ice advantage right there.
Yeah.
So, I guess from what you've seen this year, it's better if the Predators win the first period, right? So if they win the first period, I think their winning percentage is pretty high, right? From that,
let's see. Let me go back. If they win the first period, winning the first period, overall this year they've done that 11 times, and they're 6-5. So it's
okay.
So it's kind of
it's not convincing.
No. At home it's 3-3. And on the road, it's 3-2.
Well, what if they win? I mean, the second period though. And I remember last year, I think me and you talked about this. It seemed like if they won the second period, that was kind of a shoe-in for them to win the game. But this year, maybe that's not the case.
No, actually, let's see. I have my spreadsheet I have to look at my spreadsheet from the last 2 years. So if they won the second period, the second period last year they were 17-4, winning the second period.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I remember it was pretty convincing.
Yeah.
So I guess it kind of back at the end of the day, it kind of makes you wonder, like, if I'm assuming that the coaches are looking at this data and they're doing something for it, right? I mean, what kind of adjustments do you make in order to capitalize on what the data is really telling you? That's kind of what I'm curious about, what they do.
Yeah. So I guess leading up to the game, because at the beginning of this season, I think it was the first before they went to that's the wrong spreadsheet. Oh no, that's the right spreadsheet. before they went to Sweden, because they had those 2 games against Pittsburgh, and so they had played, what was it, that was the 19th and 20th games, 11-16. So let me see here. The start date. Oh, no, I want this to be the end date. Yeah, so what they at this point they played 8 games on the road, and they'd scored 1 goal in the first period. And that's awful. And so, definitely during that time, because you don't want to get yourself into a hole. I mean, in those 8 games, the opponents had scored 10 goals, right? So you don't want to get into a big hole early, which is kind of where the Preds are, frankly. They, at home or away, they're one of the lowest scoring teams in the first period. And it doesn't pick up much from there, except on the road. They are one of the highest scoring teams in the third period. And so what the coaches were doing was changing the lineups. They got 4 lines in general, when they come into a game, they've got 12 forwards, 6 defensemen, and 2 goaltenders. It's not always the case. Like the other day in the Olympics, the U.S. team was playing 13 forwards and 5 defensemen. I guess because they wanted to have more offensive capability.
Yeah, they wanted to score more, right?
I guess. Well, I mean, you can still only have 5 people on the ice unless you pull the goaltender, right? So.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a
that's
mix.
That's a guy with a funky mask, right?
Right.
That doesn't really move. That doesn't really move around that much. I mean, he just kind of stands there. Anyway, yeah. Well, more on that later. I got more questions about that guy.
Sure.
So anyway.
So they change how they pair up people, because you might have 3 guys that skate really well together, are very comfortable with each other, and can, they know kind of got a good feeling of where they're going to be, and they have a good mix of capabilities that can be a positive influence. And so what you try to do is you try to maximize the number of lines that you've got with that chemistry, because that's the kind of chemistry that not only will help you score goals, but help keep the other team from scoring goals. And the other thing that they can do is change the defensive pairings, because you get certain defensemen are more offensive-minded and certain defensemen are more defensive-minded. And so, when you come up with your pairs for defensive lines, for your defensive pairings, a lot of times you might have one defensive-minded guy and one guy who's a little bit more offensive-minded. And so, in these circumstances where, you're having trouble scoring, you might try to change that up, or you might change your scheme up to where the defensemen are supposed to engage a lot more, because a lot of times maybe they stay back at the blue line and the forwards are up ahead battling to try to score, and the defensemen are more of an outlet when they get into trouble or to reset. And so so instead of that, they could have the defensemen be more of the play and getting more. Of course, the more offensive you get, the more in trouble you could be if there's a turnover and the other team starts coming down. And
yeah, that's quite interesting. So you were talking about, I guess you mentioned Sweden. Was that global series back in November? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
They went over.
Yeah.
Did they go? They went over to Sweden and played. Looks like they played the Penguins
twice.
And it was the Penguins twice. Okay, yeah. Interesting. That's kind of like, I guess the NFL's doing that, right? They're going to London or Barcelona or somewhere anyway, playing games. So Mexico. I guess is the NHL's doing the same thing? They're kind of going to different countries and playing.
Okay. I don't pay a lot of attention to that unless it's the Preds doing it, and
right,
And it was a big deal because Philip Forsberg, number 9 with the Preds, arguably the biggest name on the team, is from Sweden. So
okay, so that big draw there. So that makes sense.
Although Team Sweden isn't treating him very nice.
Yeah, there was a fight in the Olympics. I mean, what's up with that? The Canada and France getting into it or something, wasn't it? I can't remember. But
I thought fighting was not allowed in international hockey, but that must have changed a few years ago.
Anyway, well, that's a good question. Do you have statistics on when a fight breaks out at a Predators game? Are they more likely to win? Are they more likely to lose? Because if maybe we need to have more fights. I don't know. I'm just kind of wondering, if we, kind of broke that down.
No,
and if you win the fight, do you win a fight or lose a fight? I mean, how does this determine?
You can win a fight. They talk about that. It really, the idea behind, in my understanding, I'm not a big fan of fighting in the NHL. I think it's a detraction. But I can't. I was watching NHL tonight once, and they were talking about this hockey game, and all they could talk about was the fights. They just loved the fact that there were so many fights in the game. It was the best part of the hockey game, and I'm like, well, really, you guys are supposed to be hockey people, but all you care about is whether they were fighting or not. But if there is perceived to be a hit on one of your star players, an unfair hit, a lot of times there'll be a fight. Because you've got to protect your players. I mean, it's not that used to be a lot more common because what was it, maybe 25, 30 years ago, you would have a guy who could barely skate and his job was just to get into fights. And so they can't do that. The skill level of the NHL is so high, you can't have those types of bruisers anymore. The other time they'll get into a fight is, say, one team gets down a couple of goals, and in order to kind of motivate the team, they'll get into a fight. Now fights, a lot of times those types of fights, generally you've got to have a dance partner. So you'll see a guy. You'll see a guy who will go up to somebody and they'll be like, "Hey, you want to fight? You want to fight?"
Okay, and they can accept or decline. It kind of depends on how they're feeling, or
right?
I
mean, because the reason one team would want to get into a fight is to change the momentum. But the thing is, the other team wouldn't want to change the momentum.
Yeah, so they can say, "No, we're good. We're good. We feel good, right? Yeah, we're good. Yeah."
Yeah. So if one guy drops the gloves and start banging on the other guy, and the other guy doesn't do anything, well, then now that team is in a hole because they're going to be on. That guy's going to get penalized, probably get an instigator.
Oh, so he wants to make sure that he's got a dance partner, like you said, before he goes. Okay,
or he's just making it worse for his team. Yeah. So if the other guy doesn't want to do it, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you had a couple of goalies fighting a few weeks ago, right? And I think it was like the first time goalies have ever fought. And I was reading about it, and like they're like good friends or something. I don't know. They kind of and it's like, oh yeah, that whatever. And it was like they just started. It makes you wonder if they were really hitting hard, like
Yeah.
So I don't know. But anyway, a couple of goalies finally decided, hey, we gotta do this. So,
no, goaltenders have gotten into fights before. It's very infrequent.
In fact, because they don't want to move. They're fine hanging out. They don't want to move around too much. They just like hanging out in that little space they got. So
no, they get in trouble. I mean, it is because they've got so many pads. If they start throwing punches, it's kind of, they'll be penalized even more than somebody else.
Yeah. Okay.
But here's something you may not know.
Unfair advantage.
Here's something you may not know. The goaltenders are not allowed to cross the blue line.
Okay. Now, where's the blue line? Is that in the middle, or is that like?
Yeah.
That's like kind of quarter line. That's like the quarter line, right?
It's closer to the center. The center line is red, and then you've got the two blue lines that demarcate the offensive zones. Right.
Yeah.
But when a fight breaks out, the goaltenders are not allowed. So if one of the goaltenders wants to fight, he'll skate out to the blue line and stare at the other guy. And so then if the other guy skates out,
it's like an imitation. He's inviting him.
Right.
It's hey, okay. Oh, I'll have to watch.
Yeah, because I think if the goaltender skates over the blue line, I think he gets a penalty immediately.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, I think they've started doing stuff like that in Major League Baseball and the NBA, or whatever. So anyway, that's quite interesting. Yeah, that's another thing about the goalies. Like they don't move around that much, and so, and they got this net that they're protecting, and it makes you wonder. Like I'm sure these guys are in phenomenal shape, just like all the rest of them. It's hard. They got this big suit on them, and you can't really see what they look like, but. It makes me wonder why why don't they invest in like sumo wrestlers that are bigger, wider. I mean, why wouldn't that work? Like somebody that's wider, that covers more space.
Could just sit in front of the net.
I've seen those guys. They're kind of flexible. I mean, so I don't know if there's an opportunity for a retired sumo wrestler to kind of come into the league like that. I don't know. Just random thoughts.
Yeah, so. I've wondered about that too. If you get somebody that's just big enough that you couldn't get a puck past them if your life depended on it.
Just fill up the net. Just fill the net up.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah. All right.
But no, the goaltenders they will. Their main job is protecting the net, but they will come out of the net and retrieve the puck. Now there's that trapezoid that's behind the net, and that's the only place where they can play it. They can't go out into the corners and play the puck. And that.
Okay. So they kind of have to stay. Well, but because they don't want to move around too much. They might pull a muscle or something, go too far, or something like that. So they're trying to stay close in or whatever.
It's not really the goaltenders so much, but. So that rule came into effect. I forget when, but it was called the Patrick Raw rule because Patrick Raw played for Colorado, and he was a good puck handler. And the thing of it is, if the goaltender's got the puck, you're supposed to be allowed to try to engage to get the puck, but you still can't hit the guy. So it's really a disadvantage.
You can't check him.
You can't check him.
Oh man, that would be so cool if they could do that, wouldn't it? That'd be a lot of fun.
Well,
to watch.
I mean, they're playing the puck. I don't really see why they need to be protected by that much. But if they are choosing to play the puck, they should be, they should, subject to the same thing. But
exactly.
They're protected.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
They're protected. So.
Yeah, they got all those pads and stuff. But anyway, all right. No, that sounds great. Yeah.
But no, some of those guys, they're like 6'6". Some of the goaltenders. I mean, some of them are 6 foot tall, but some are pretty big in and of themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people say they're actually the best skater.
Oh, really? Well, because they don't wear themselves out. I mean, they're not tired. I mean, they just so they can probably outrun guys. At the end of the game. So, here's another thing that's interesting is how impatient the coaches are, because it seems like every couple of minutes they're yanking their players off and putting new players in. It's like they get impatient with them and yank them off the ice and put new ones in. So, I mean, what's up with that?
Well, that's just the normal line change. They'll plan for the lines to be out there 30 to 45 seconds. And,
wow.
Well, and then the other kind of like home ice advantage is that when there's a stoppage of play, the visiting team has to put the people on the ice that they're going to have on the ice, and then the home team gets to react. So the home team gets to put their guys out second. So they get to see who's on the ice, and they get to decide the lineup. So they get to decide what the matchups are going to be at the puck drop. So it could be, and sometimes this does happen, you've got one guy who's really good at face-offs, and he'll come in just for the face-off. So he'll come in, do the face-off, then skate off, and they'll put another guy out there for that shift.
Or
the visiting team might get the guys out there and realize they've got a bad matchup, and they'll want to switch them out as they can, and get a better matchup for them. So there's, but generally, if they're on the ice for a minute, that's a long time.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
I mean, look, I have to admit, I've never ice skated, so I don't know how hard it is. I mean, it must be hard. I've rollerbladed. Is that the same? I don't know.
It's close, yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
but
roller
you know,
skated, you know.
at full speed with guys crashing into you, and you're, you know,
Oh, yeah.
it's very,
Well, that's a problematic. That's problematic. You
yeah.
know, kind of gets in your way when people crash into you.
Yeah.
But
So I
yeah,
mean,
that's
you're putting out a
problematic.
lot of effort. It's a lot of
Yeah.
concentration. That's why, like, when the team gets shorthanded and they can't clear the puck and get a line change, that's when it really starts to
Oh
become a
yeah.
problem because these guys have been on the ice for a minute, minute and a half, and they're tired, and they're definitely have less energy than the offensive players. So so the
Yeah.
longer they're out there, the harder it is to get a clear. And so that's why if you get an opportunity to clear the puck in that circumstance, you should do it. I mean, you take a
Oh
split
right.
second and make a good pass instead of, you know, because a lot of times the reason they get stuck is that somebody gets the puck and then they don't bother to look and they just kind of backhand it someplace and they send it to the offensive player and then, you know, they didn't get the clear that they needed. So,
So when you say clear, you're like hit it to the other end of the rink, right?
yeah, the other
That's kind of yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
get it out of the
Okay.
offensive zone because when the puck goes out of the offensive zone, the offensive players have to get out because the
Yeah.
offensive players can't be in the offensive zone unless the puck is in the zone.
Okay.
So when
Yeah.
you clear the puck, then that at least gives you time because the offensive players have to get out of the zone and then come back in. So the further you can get it down the ice, the more time you're going to have to get your players off the ice, especially in the second period when it's the long change where the bench is further away from the defensive your defensive zone, the other team's offensive zone. So the defenseman on the other side of the ice a lot of times get stuck out there in penalty kill situations in the second period. Now, why they don't work more on having that situation and like rotating the defenseman, rotating a forward back so that they can get that guy off the ice. That I don't know why, but
Well, I wonder, you know, back to this, back to these again, kind of looking at the stats and data and everything like that. You know, maybe that's the reason why they're not doing so good in the first period or possibly the second period. They're not doing a good job of rotating players out properly. And you kind of mentioned it about the combinations and the four different lines and things like that. So it makes you wonder if they, you know, maybe they've got to do a better job of that. I mean, obviously, you got to have players and the players got to execute. But, it makes you wonder if they need to be looking at the data more or responding to the data more. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It's that's a good point. You know, during again we talked a little bit about what they do coming into the game. You know, they decide what their lines are going to be, how many forwards they're going to have, how many defensemen, what goaltender is going to going to be starting, and then during the game they can change their lines again, right? And sometimes they're forced to because a player gets injured. Right, and then they have to.
Oh, right.
Somebody has to double shift, or they just go to playing three lines, and they'll take one line, out of rotation completely. But they'll make those types of changes. One thing that I haven't done the data analysis on, which would be really interesting, would be to do that kind of analysis: first period, second period, third period, and the players, right? And actually see, who's getting, as I've looked at times to see, how the ice time changes between the first period and the second period. But, I've seen a big difference in the statistics for the team from home games and away games, and potentially that there's a big difference in how there's some players that maybe play better in the second period, some players that play better in the third period. I think.
Yeah.
I think like their first period problem is, I don't know. It feels like they just don't come into the game focused and ready.
Yeah.
And the other team gets the jump and they've got the energy, and the Preds are just in defensive mode pretty much the whole period, just because. And that was definitely the case against Washington. Washington was all over them, and in that game, I don't know if you listened to that podcast, but the Washington is the lowest scoring home team in the first period in the NHL.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, you mentioned that.
It's
Yeah,
like half
and
a
the
goal a
Predators
game.
aren't much better.
And
It's like 17-19 or something like that. I
and
can't remember the numbers,
Preds aren't very good on the road, and
yeah.
Capitals. So it was like weakness versus weakness, and it looks
yeah,
like
they were going to stare at each other, is what you said. I mean, I'd be offended if I were, I'd be offended if I were on the team that you said that we're just staring at each other. But whatever.
Well,
but yeah, that's what you said.
Well,
staring at each other.
Well, and maybe Washington was offended because they came out and they were ready. They just took it to Nashville, and then they tied the second period, but they lost the first. So and they tied the third,
I think,
I guess. But
I know, like in basketball, they really pay attention to like how many minutes a particular player has the ball and who's handling the ball, and obviously they're paying attention to the number of shots and percentage and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's really around like like if a particular player has a percentage of time handling the ball more than they should, then they're going to make adjustments on that. And I would venture to say that NHL is very similar. They're looking at their players and how much they're touching the puck or controlling the puck or whatever they may be doing, and hopefully making adjustments and kind of looking at that. So I don't know. It's just it's interesting. So
yeah, they did that early in the season. It came out that the coaches were trying to convince Evangelista to shoot more, and so then he did. And he started scoring, and so that has been one change that they made. Apparently, he was not being as aggressive about taking shots and looking for the pass instead of looking for the shot. And so that was a change that they want to make. So there's some players that probably shoot when they shouldn't. And that's, I keep going back to the Kings. I've been a long time Kings fan, and that was one of my biggest complaints against Anze Kopitar was he doesn't shoot enough. And then when I look at, when we played him, I looked, his shooting percentage, he's like 23-24%. But he doesn't shoot he still shoots the puck about 60 times. But you guys got guys out there shooting the puck 100 times a game. But he will, especially on the power play, he's always in a position looking to pass. That was the other thing I used to scream about the Kings, is that they were so predictable that you knew Doughty was going to be the guy taking the shot on the power play. There was no sense for the goaltender to even bother to pay attention to anybody until the puck went to Drew Doughty. And the Preds had that problem too. Talk about making adjustments, because everybody knew Stamkos was going to take the shot. Stamkos is going to take the shot. Forsberg isn't. Evangelista's not. Nobody's going to take the shot. They're going to sit there. They're going to look at the goaltender. They're going to pretend to take the shot. They're going to pass it to somebody else. And Stamkos is going to be over there. When it goes up high and they pass it to Stamkos, you're finally going to get a shot. And it's going to be from the same place. And guess what?
Right.
Everybody knew it. And so that's easy to defend, unless Stamkos really puts a lot of heat on the puck and he puts it in a particular spot. So they've changed that. Now other people are shooting. Stamkos, a couple of games, has gotten to that position, then delayed and moved, and then taken a shot to kind of change the angle.
So those kinds of things, yeah.
So they can make those kinds of adjustments.
I know we've been going for some time. Am I wearing you out with too many questions or something? Do we need a break? Are we good?
I don't need a break. Do you need a break?
Okay.
I mean, I get in here. I've gotten in here and I've talked for an hour and a half. So that's it's actually nice that I don't have to talk the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure your listeners are appreciative of me, and that's fine. And by the way, I got a couple of things. One is, my name is Percy Proctor, but most people refer to me as Premium. You can refer to me as Premium Proctor. That means that you are regular Proctor. I just kind of
waiting all day to say that.
I know. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that. Yeah. That there's Premium, and then there's just regular. So anyway, all right. So I got a question. So I'm looking at the standings right now.
At least I'm not leaded, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So
caffeinated from quantum energy squares.
Oh, by the way, yes. Hey, look, here's the deal about that. So I'm glad you brought that up because, I've been hearing you talk about these squares, and I have not tried them yet. So, but I'm going to. And here's a couple of thoughts I had. One is I go to the gym in the morning, and I try not to. I try not to eat anything before I go to the gym because I run and I don't want to, feel. Because I drink a shake in the morning time, and even a shake, I feel loaded down. But by the time I get back from the gym, all I want to do is eat. And I come back, and I'm immediately, before I even get to eat, I'm immediately hit, hey, can you help me with this? Or can you do this? Or whatever. And it's like, hey, look, I need to eat, right? And so I've been looking at these quantum squares, and they look great. And I'm thinking to myself, I probably should eat one of these before going to the gym. I'm sure a lot of people are smarter than me and probably do that. But for the normal person, non-Olympian out there, I think it's a great option to just go and eat one of these squares before you go to the gym. They are good size, but I don't think they would weigh me down running. And I certainly wouldn't feel like I wouldn't be in a bad mood when I got back from the gym, desperate to eat something.
Right.
I think that's a great option. So they look great.
No, that's quantumsquares.com, Preds Pro. Yeah, well, they when you come out in I guess it's 2 weeks, right? So
a couple of weeks. I'm going to be raiding. We're raiding your pantry for those things. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So absolutely, 100%.
Already have it's already stocked, and so back when you were going to come out before that ice storm. But
yes, I'm glad I missed that. Yeah. We could have been out, kind of demonstrating some of these hockey skills that we have out there in the ice in Nashville, out there on the streets. Maybe some people were doing that, but the other thing I want to mention about these quantum energy squares, I just love the ingredients, because me personally, even though I'm still a carnivore, I would really prefer, try to eat as much plant-based type of food as I can. And I love the ingredients in here, especially the sweetener. So the monk fruit extract, which I think is kind of a preferred sweetener nowadays, no aspartame, erythritol, sucralose, which you find that, especially erythritol, you find that in a lot of different things. And that's, there's some research recently, to kind of maybe it makes sense to avoid that. But I love the contents, and I'm looking at the salted peanut butter crunch, because that seems like. Do you have that at your house? Because
I just got
good.
2 boxes of the variety pack that. I haven't looked in it, but they've assured me have all 6 flavors now, because the first variety pack I got only had 5.
Yeah, you mentioned that, because one flavor they didn't have.
I think it was the one
like
you're talking about, that salted caramel.
Oh, well, that's probably a popular. It looks good. So, but and with the 25% off with Preds Pro, each bar is less than $2 it's like $1.89 or something like that, which is
pretty good for
really good. Especially nowadays when you go just to Trader Joe's, or go to like even your local grocery store, the bars, even are that's about what you pay here, if not more, like $3 a bar or something. Anyway.
It's good. It seems crazy that a bar would cost that much, but that's what they cost. So That's
that goes for everything, right? Yeah. So anyway, that's the world. That's the new world we live in. And so anyway, I'm getting kind of hungry here. I'm watching this person getting ready to take a bite of this thing. I need to get off this website. Is what I need to do. But maybe I need to order some before I do that. So anyway, there you go.
There you go. Yeah. Well, hey, thanks for that. Yeah, I like your understanding of all the different sugars, but I guess your family has had to become experts in sugar.
Yeah, I'm the only one in my family that can eat everything. I can eat everything. I have no restrictions. There are certain things I don't like, but I can eat. I can
but
pretty
your body
much eat
will
everything.
Process them. Yeah.
My body, it'll process. I'm labeled a raccoon, to be honest with you. So I've trained my body in that way. Actually, it takes a lot of years of training to be able to get your body to a place where you can process anything. So very proud of that. But anyway.
What I didn't think of, and we should have talked about this beforehand, we do have to take some breaks so I can put some in commercials in there. So we probably have stopped a couple of times, but Yeah. This after all this talking about the Quantum Pros, let's
Right.
just give it a second of quiet so I can put an ad in here. So everybody listening, here comes an ad. Don't know what it's going to be. All right, and we're back.
All right, that's great. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So, hey, listen. I had a question. One of the things I don't understand, and I haven't done any research on this. All right. So when I look at the standings and I look at the, you got the games played, you got wins, losses. Then I'm not sure what OTL is, but then you got points, right?
Yeah.
So what's up with the points, and how does that relate to wins and losses? Because I'm in Major League Baseball, it's wins and losses, right?
Yeah.
And same thing with the NFL, right? Wins and losses, or even better. But the NHL is a little different. It's a point system. So, like, how do I look at the wins and losses and figure out points?
Yeah. So every win is 2 points, and then an OTL is overtime loss.
Okay.
So an overtime loss gets you 1 point.
Oh, so you get points for losing in overtime. Maybe you should do that more. Or no? Okay, maybe not.
Well, it's better to win.
Okay.
So one thing to note is so people will talk about those, especially later in the season, about being 3-point games, and so if you're playing a team in your division that you're competing with, what you don't want are these 3-point games, right? I mean, you want to win, but you don't want to win in overtime because the team you're competing against just got a point, right? So they've been talking about, and the Olympics does this, about having a win is 3 points, right? So if you look at the Olympic standings and you see how they calculate points, they get three points for a win, 2 points for a extra time win, and 1 point for an overtime loss. So every game has 3 points. And I did my analysis on the playoff. I have this playoff cutoff that I do, and I went through and I did the calculations if it was a 3-point system, and I really didn't really see anything a whole lot. The only difference is that Buffalo would be second in the Atlantic instead of being the first wild card team. So that would be significant for them. Montreal would drop from being the second team in the Atlantic to being the first wild card team. So it would influence a lot of things. The Metropolitan would be the same: Carolina, Pittsburgh, New York. Tampa Bay and Detroit would still be first and third in the Atlantic. In the Western Conference, Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota still on top. Anaheim, Vegas, and Seattle would still be the top three, but instead of being Anaheim, Vegas, Seattle, it'd be Vegas, Seattle, Anaheim. And then Utah and Edmonton would still be the wild card team. So it would be a couple of significant changes, but not wholesale changes if the NHL used the 3-point system. And I think it would be a better system overall for the NHL. Now they do one of the things, if you continue down the standing path after points, you see RW, which is regulation win, right? So if you look so if you look at the standings, you see Tampa Bay's got 37 wins and 28 regulation wins. That means 9 times they won in overtime. Either a shootout. Well, I guess they do have shootout wins, but called out. But But yeah, so either in a shootout or overtime, but 9 extra times. Yeah. And then if you go to the ROW column, it's regulation and overtime wins, which is 33. So since they've got 37 wins, that says they've got 4 shootout wins, which is in the next column anyway. But
I gotcha.
And those are your
shootout losses. Okay.
Yeah. So those are your tie-breaking criteria. So if the end of the season, if Tampa Bay and Montreal are tied, the first tiebreaker is the regulation win, and then the second tiebreaker is regulation and overtime wins. So that's why those numbers are important in the whole discussion. And like with Nashville has the regulation win advantage over all the teams that they would be competing with for a wild card spot, except for Utah and Seattle. So as long as Seattle stays in the third Pacific spot, then they're competing against Anaheim, LA, and San Jose for that last spot.
See, do you know where this overtime loss, given a point for that, originated from? I mean, has that always been in the league for years and years and years, or something new? Or
that's a great question. I don't remember if I came across that. I know.
It's interesting.
Yeah, I'd have to bring up my doc on the history of the NHL. It might be in there. I remember wondering why there are three. One of the things I always wondered about was why are there three forwards and two defensemen? Why are there 4 lines of forwards and 3 lines of defensemen? Why is that the case? And I did find an answer on the number of people, because there used to be 6 skaters and a goaltender. The 6th guy was considered to be a flex position, and the NHL, when the NHL came around, they decided not to adopt that, but other teams still had that. It was so I don't think the NHL ever had 6, but 6 was still prevalent at the time the NHL was formed. And then that got phased out over time. Like the Western Hockey League still had 6, and but that when the overtime loss came
so
it's a good question.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. So it looks like I guess originally you used to get a point for an overtime tie if you tied. And so they introduced it in the 99 season to encourage teams to try to go for the win versus just tying. And so they eventually have eliminated the point for tying, I guess. So
there are no ties.
Yeah, so I guess it was maybe they were not seeing it as being as competitive as it should be when it went to overtime. Everybody was just kind of tired, and they just kind of wanted to skate it out. So apparently they instituted it to kind of like, hey man, let's keep it going. Somebody's got to win this game, right? So anyway, that's interesting.
Yeah, good call out. It never occurred to me to think about that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the NHL is a little different, right, because of this point system. Maybe there's other sports I'm not thinking about that does something similar, but
rugby. Rugby has a very complicated scoring system.
Yeah.
You get points for the win.
People.
You get points. Points if you get a certain number of tries, even if you lose.
That's very smart people that play rugby. They can figure that out.
It's very complicated.
So, but Major League Baseball, we keep it simple for simple-minded people. Right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, I say all that to say I have been talking about all this analysis that goes. I mean, everybody's seen Moneyball, right? I mean, Moneyball changed everything. So anyway, interesting. Yeah. So let's see, where is talking about the Predators right now. So first off, when it comes to wild card, I'm assuming they're in the wild card hunt. So is it just 2 teams that get the wild card for the playoffs? Is that what it is?
Yeah. So each conference has 2 divisions, and all 3, the 3 top teams, point-getting teams from each division get in, and then 2 wildcard teams get in from the conference, and that would be the 2 highest point total teams in the conference, regardless of what division they're in. So you could get 2 from the same division, or you get 1 from one division and 1 from the other. And so there are 8 teams that go for each conference that go into the playoffs. The 2 and 3 seeds from each division will play each other, with the 2 seed getting the home ice advantage. So they'll play. All series are 7 series, so they'll play 2 at home, 2 away, then 1-1-1, and then the number one seed in the conference Doesn't matter what division, but the guy with the highest points in the conference will play the number 2 wildcard team, and then the other number 1 from the other division will play the number 1 wildcard team. So that's how they set that up. And then they at one time they kind of reordered. I don't think they reorder anymore. But yeah, so whoever wins out of the number 1 in the Atlantic and that game, whoever they play will play whoever wins 2 or 3 Atlantic, and then the same will happen in the Metropolitan, and then they'll play for the conference championship. So they used to reorder because when the Kings went and won the Stanley Cup the first time in 2012, they were the 8th seed. They had to beat the number 1, 2, and 3 team in the division, in the conference, in order to get to in the division, in order to get to the conference championship game, and then they won that one, and then won the Stanley Cup in 6 games. So yeah. But
so it looks like in the wild card, I mean, you're like 2 of your favorite teams are sitting on the outside right now, the Kings and the Preds. But it looks like they're only maybe 2 wins out of the second wild card behind the Ducks. So it's not. I mean, they're not out of it. I mean, they're still in the hunt.
Oh, yeah.
I would think. Yeah. So they played 57 games. You said there's 82 or 84. How many games
82.
they play?
82 games.
82. Okay. Yeah. So they got, another 25 or something like that. So, so they can definitely do it. If they need to start looking at this data that we keep talking about and make, that's what they need to do. I mean, who do we need to talk to kind of let them know about this breakthrough revelation that we've got about them looking at this data that they need to do that. So that's what we need to kind of focus on. So
I imagine that they are looking at a lot of data that they got their own guys,
right. Okay. Yeah, they got their own guy. Well, I'll tell you one thing about. I love the names of some of these hockey teams. I mean, the Predators that's a great name. It makes you wonder, like, did they find saber-toothed tigers in Tennessee somewhere? I mean, where did that? It makes you wonder, where did the Predators? How did they pick the Predators?
I'm not sure. I didn't go into the research on that, but there is. I mean, they do say there's a rumor that they did find when they were building Bridgestone Arena that they found the skeleton of a saber-toothed tiger.
Yeah,
I think that's just lore. It's just
that'd be pretty cool if that's true. I mean, that'd be really neat. I mean, the Utah mammoth. I mean, I'm sure they have found some mammoth skeletons out there, and you can find everything in Utah, right? Yeah. I mean, so there's definitely something going on, and then the Kraken. Okay, so the Kraken. I mean, nobody wants to see a Kraken. Nobody. That would not be a good day if we saw a Kraken. So they did a really good job with that. There were the video that they put together releasing the name. They did a fantastic job of. I love the name. I think they did a good job of marketing it and. I was when I was living in Seattle, I was not hopeful that they would come up with something. Oh yeah,
but figured I guess the old team in Seattle were the Totems years ago. I think that was a minor league team. There was a major league team. I forget the name of it, but they did win the Stanley Cup back when it was just supposed to be the best hockey team in Canada, and Seattle wound up winning it. So they had to kind of redefine the definition of what the Stanley Cup was all about at that point, because an American team won it and not a Canadian team.
Okay. Now, what about this is one Columbus? I guess
Seattle Metropolitans. Yeah.
Yeah. So Columbus, I guess that's Columbus, Ohio, maybe.
Yeah.
What is a blue jacket? Is that related to the yellow jacket? Or is no?
I don't
it's
know.
not. What is it?
I
Yeah.
don't.
Okay. I don't know. That's a blue jacket.
It might be a Revolutionary War reference. I'm not sure.
Oh, it could be, right, because they got the star and they got this cool little logo. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, and the English were called the Redcoats, right? So
Right.
it could be.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll have to research that one.
I got to tell you, there's on Saturday, there's a new ECHL team being announced because the way this came up was that it's a new team with the ECHL with the NHL affiliate, and there's an announcement on Saturday about all this. But speaking of team names, it's the New Mexico Goatheads.
Aha. Yeah.
Not goats.
Okay.
Goat heads.
No, because we like them. We like the goat heads. We like the. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go with that one.
I don't either.
That's all right. So the.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No. The Blue Jackets. Actually, you were almost right. It's normal. You're almost right. But anyway, the
I am just
Blue
regular.
Jacket. Yeah, it comes from the Civil War.
Oh.
So it's the Union soldiers wore dark blue uniforms. So they I guess it says Ohio supplied more soldiers to the Union Army than almost any other state.
Okay.
And so it connects to their broader Civil War heritage. So there
I'm
you
even
go.
happier now than when we beat the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that, but anyway, yeah. There's some cool names. There's some cool names out there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. What I like is when the minor league teams have like their own identity and they don't copy their major league affiliates.
right, yeah.
But sometimes they do. I think it's the Iowa Wild or the minor league team for the Minnesota Wild, and I just find that to be boring.
Yeah. So back to the wild card spot. I've heard you've been talking about this trade deadline, and I don't know, the deadline's coming up sometime soon. Is that right?
March 6th. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, it's really kind of a demarcation type of line right here. I mean, the Predators are still in it for a wild card. Would they give up on the season to kind of prepare for next season? What's your feeling on that? Or are they going to make a push to try to really make the playoffs? I mean, where are they angling right now?
Well, I was listening to one of the local radio stations, one of the shows, and that has one of the Predators announcers on it, and he was saying, I don't agree with this, but he was saying that how the Preds look like right now is how that they would look like after doing a bunch of trades. You'd have a mix of young people and experienced people. You've got Marcia Show, who's won the Stanley Cup and was the Conn Smith winner. It was Conn Smith winner, which is the most valuable player of the playoffs. You've got Stamkos, who won 2 Stanley Cups down in Tampa Bay, and then you've got a lot of young people like Evangelista and so on. And so, they've got that mix. The thing of it is, though, you still have to look at what value can you get for other players and how that affects the team that you have, right? So I'm gonna pick on him for no particular reason, but Nick Hague is at the end of the season is an unrestricted free agent, and so if we feel like we're not going to be able to sign him again, then it makes sense to trade him and get another player in, and get the value, because he's a good player, and I'd love him to stay on the Kings. Yeah, I can say that every now and then. I'd love him to be on the Preds. He's 30. Yeah. He's 34, so he's kind of near the end, and he's an unrestricted free agent last year, and I think his salary is 3.5. No, he's 5. I think he's one of the 5 million crew. And let me look down here to make sure. Nick Hague, 5.5. Oh, I shouldn't be picking on him. He's not. he's not the one that's an unrestricted free agent. Oh, so we don't have to worry
Yeah,
about
and he's 20, and he's 27. So I was just looking at that.
Who am I
So
who am I? Oh,
yeah.
I guess I am thinking of Eric Holla.
Oh, okay.
We got Michael.
him.
I think Michael Bunting and Eric. Yeah, I got confused between the
Eric Holla.
ages.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Yeah.
So Eric Holla and Michael Bunting.
Oh, yeah,
are
he's
both,
definitely older. He's definitely older.
Yeah, he is 34. Yeah, thanks for the
Yeah.
question. Eric Holla is 34,
Yeah.
3.1 million, unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. Where are the Preds if he's not in the lineup? What do? Right? And they've got some really good talent in Milwaukee that they could pull up and has played with the team, or they could get another forward if they don't think they can resign him and they can get value for him. If they can't get value for him, well, there's no sense making a trade for that, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Now, one thing I will say is that the Preds were playing really well when Marchessault was injured, and when he came back, they've sucked. I mean, they may have won one and lost three since he came back, and he was one of the things that people were saying. The Preds, when he's on the ice in a 5-on-5 situation, was one of the worst scenarios for the Preds. So somebody's already done that statistic. You talk about people doing research.
They've already figured out you got to dig into that.
So
what's the deal there?
I was on the fence about moving him before, but after I've seen how he's played and how the team has performed with him back in the lineup, I would like to see him gone. He just has not. He has not meshed with the team. He's had a year and a half, and it just doesn't work. Yeah,
either that or figure out how to make adjustments, and maybe that's there you are, but maybe it's difficult or something in the way.
Well, I mean, they were playing on him on the first or second line, and when he came back, they had him on the third line. I mean, so they've moved him around, but it hasn't improved things. And he's been on the ice. I mean, his plus minus, I think, since coming back is pretty high. I mean, he's made mistakes. He's been he did score a goal. But he's been on the ice when the other team has scored because for whatever reason. Whatever they got to figure that out. Yeah. It'd be interesting. So we've got a couple of weeks before the trade deadline happens to kind of see what shakes out from that and how they may either make a push to get in the wild card spot or just kind of take a bow and prepare for next year, I guess. So yeah, well, the thing to look at, I would say, when we're looking at the standings, you get down to a team like Chicago, which is the next team after San Jose.
Yeah.
And they have 53 points, so they're 10 points out of a playoff spot. They played one more game than Anaheim. So, what have they got? I mean, they still have 27 games left, 25 games left. 25 games left, they're 10 points out. I would think that if you're Chicago on down, you have to believe that your chances of making the playoffs are slim. And so I agree. Yeah. So then it starts to look at, okay, Chicago, Winnipeg, Calgary, St. Louis, Vancouver in the West. Over in the East, the Rangers, are the Devils out? The Devils are 11 points out. You've got Flyers and Panthers at 61. They're 8 points out. I'd say the line, I'd say probably definitely New Jersey and New York are probably not. They're going to be in the, we're not making the playoffs. So those are the teams that are definitely on the seller list. So then the question becomes, of the players that are on those teams, who do you think would be worth getting, right? Is there somebody in that that would be worth getting? The other thing, you just saw where, I guess Panarin came out of the Rangers. So Panarin went from the Rangers to the Kings. But we're still seeing trades between teams that are both teams are in the hunt for the playoffs. And so, like Marchessault isn't really performing for us, but that doesn't mean he couldn't be in a better scenario for another team. So he could go to, and we've seen this before, where take a guy who doesn't perform in your team, you trade him someplace else, and suddenly he's an outstanding player. Jeff Carter was that way for for the Kings. He was in Columbus and was not performing very well. He had been in Pittsburgh before that and did okay. And suddenly he's with the Kings, and man, what an outstanding career he had with the Kings. So you can see if players go to certain schemes and have other types of players around them, then they can perform better. So it's potentially that, even though Colorado, I just looked at, even though Colorado is like the number one team in the league, doesn't mean they're not necessarily looking to tweak their team, and they could give away one of their, not premier players, but somebody that's in their lineup that's maybe underperforming, and you could like trade Marchessault for that. So you could still have a trade with a team that is in the hunt, even though you're in the hunt. But the teams that are going to be sellers, you're going to be giving up draft picks, and you might be giving up minor league players for the teams that you're trading with that are not in the hunt. And then you have to start looking at, where's my salary cap, and how am I gonna pay all these players, and those types of considerations come into it. The Kings are I'm stuck
Preds.
About the Kings. The Preds, thank you.
My job today is to keep Preston on point. So,
right.
In case the listeners are wondering.
Yeah.
So, anyway. Well, hey, listen, one thing that I've just noticed is, at least on the offensive side, the Predators are kind of old. I could be wrong, but they don't. It seems like probably over 50% of their offensive team is over 30 years old, and so it makes me wonder. A lot of times sellers, they're looking for prospects and they're looking for draft picks, right?
Right.
And so it makes me wonder if the Preds aren't kind of in that kind of precarious position where they're kind of close to getting a wild card, but their team might be aging out a little bit. And like you said, you've got maybe some of these guys are unrestricted after this year, and maybe it makes sense to kind of bail and just kind of put the pipeline together a little bit better to kind of build for the next couple, 3 years. So it just even look at the defensemen here, they're a little bit younger, but they're probably definitely a little bit younger. But yeah, the offensive team group looks, anyway.
Yeah, I think, you take a look at, so Stamkos looks like he's the oldest person there in the forward group. He's 36, $8 million a year. He's signed through 28, 29. So 36, he's signed for the next couple of years. He's either going to retire with the Preds, or he's going to sign a one-day contract with Tampa Bay, so he retires as a Lightning.
Yeah, right.
But that's kind of, he's probably not going to play beyond that. And
right.
But he is the goal-scoring leader of the team right now, and he wasn't at the beginning of this season. Shout out for us old guys. Yeah,
shout out for us old guys. Right.
So it kind of that depends on how you want to use some of these players. And O'Reilly, 35. Again, he's one of the guys everybody's talking about teams wanting to trade for because has got. He's got a lot of experience. He's played what I guess they just said the other day. He is the first team to score 50 points in 3 consecutive years with 4 teams.
Huh.
I mean,
that's experience there for you.
That's a crazy stat. I mean, but that's 12 years just right there. I mean, how many players actually have 12 years of 12 years of a career, and O'Reilly has that. So how many more years is he going to play? I don't know. He's I mean, like I call him in my podcast, he's Mr. Stat. He's the forward that's on the ice the most. He's like second in assists and first in
36
points.
assists. Yeah. He's having a good year compared to previous years. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Looking at it.
And he works, when I was at training camp, he was, after most people had skated off, he was always on the ice. He was always on the ice working with something. That Michael Wood, who is a young forward, I guess, where is he? I guess he went, Yeah, Wood. I thought Wood was still in the lineup. Where's Wood? I don't see Wood. But anyway, so I mean, he was working with O'Reilly and Forsberg were working with him on the three-man situations, passing it out from the puck, passing, taking shots. O'Reilly was working with Forsberg a lot. They were one-on-one passing, certain situations, turning and shooting. He puts a lot of, what I saw at training camp, he put a lot of work in. So
yeah, looks like Miles Wood is with the Avalanche now.
Matthew Wood.
Oh, Matthew Wood. Sorry, Matthew Wood.
He's a non-roster forward. I bet they sent him to Milwaukee during the break.
Okay.
Yeah, I bet that's what they did because the AHL and ECHL are still playing. The NHL has stopped, but the other teams are playing. So they're the players that they can send down.
Yeah, Admirals. These are the Admirals. Yeah.
And that way he can still get some playing time.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. It's quite interesting. So anyway,
like I said I've said a few times, down or up in Milwaukee, depending on how you want to talk about it. There's good players like Jake Lucchini, Cole O'Hara were a couple of my favorites from training camp. Zach Larue, which for some reason the Preds are all excited about. He's in Milwaukee. Reed Schaefer is in Milwaukee. Matthew Wood. Everybody was high on Brady Martin, who was the #1 draft pick this past year, but I didn't. I had to remind myself to look for him in the at the training camp. So they've got a lot of potential, NHL forwards there in Milwaukee. Milwaukee's not doing so well right now, but yeah, they've got a lot of people there that that could be playing with the club. So as the older players age out, I think their development scheme seems to be working so far. So
yeah, well, that's good. Well, I tell you, Preston, I'm about tapped out on questions. I'm going to have to come up with some more here. So maybe your listeners can submit questions for premium to ask you.
Yeah. Well, we can do that. I mean, we're over an hour, so we've gone quite a while. This has been good. It's I mean, I get I get used to doing what I do, and it's nice to talk to people sometime that aren't thinking the same way that I do. So it's you kind of start looking at things a little bit differently. So
yeah, that's great. I think that's what you need. I think you need that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've been trying to tell you that for a long time.
Yeah, but anyway, I only listen to myself, so
Yeah, right. Yeah, there you go.
Well, anyway, thanks for being on the show, Premium.
Yeah, no, it's great. Thanks for having me. Yeah, absolutely. I hope I enjoyed it, and I hope you have me back. So we'll find out. To your listeners, I guess I'll find out when I show up at your house in a couple of weeks. I may not be, I may not be invited in. I'm not sure. We'll see. But I'll be looking for those quantum energy bars. That's for sure. I'm gonna be looking for them things. That's for sure. So anyway.
All right. Well, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for listening. I'm Preston Proctor, and you've been listening to Predators Proclivity.